back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna, and I'm a little bit spooky, and today we are reviewing the She's in Parties palette from Melt Cosmetics. We're going to go through all the shades, talk about the formula, and I'm going to show you some looks I've created using this palette, including this one right here. There will be a tutorial either up or coming up on how to get this look, and I will make a playlist of all the videos I've done playing with this palette. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump in to the details and everything else about this amazing palette from Melt Cosmetics. Okay, so the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties palette was originally one of their stacks, and I wanted it so bad and just never got around to getting it before it was phased out to make room for the palette, which I bought as soon as it launched. I was so excited for it, not just because of the color story, because the color story is stunning. I mean, okay, mine's well loved already, but these colors are just gorgeous. Not only the shades, but just the aesthetic of the palette is beautiful, and the shade names. They are references to a lot of songs and bands that I like, and that was kind of a little bit of a selling point. I love that. I love when I recognize a shade name as a song title or something like that, and it just, I don't know, I think that's so cool. And I think the shade names are really thoughtful in this palette. She's in Parties is of course a Bauhaus song. I will also link any of the applicable songs that I know for a fact are songs from this, because some of them I'm not sure about. I will link them either in the cards or in the description box. I might add them to the playlist too, just for fun. She's in Parties is a Bauhaus song, and that's probably one of the more popular Bauhaus songs next to Bela Lugosi's Dead. Oh, first off, I want to mention I matched the palette today, like my shirt. I've had this shirt for maybe, okay, weird fact here. This was the shirt I wore to my mom's funeral. I know, and I have it all these years later. It's been like 12 years, right? But I wore it today because it matches the palette. I have so many shirts that match Melt palettes. Like, I have two that look just like the Gemini palettes. Anyway, let's get back into the palette. The She's in Parties palette retails for $48, which is a little pricey, but Melt has really good quality, and just I didn't mind spending the money on this one, okay, because it's so pretty. But you have inside 8 shades that are all predominantly cool toned. The warmest one in here is She's in Parties, which is kind of a garnet bloody red shade, which I have kind of on the lid a little bit today. Love that color. And the rest are actually really cool toned, interesting, mauve-y, dusty colors. Almost a lavender undertone in a lot of them, or mauve type of vibe throughout the palette. And even though like Mean Streak looks a bit warm, it actually comes off on the eye as a really deep blackened purple, which is really, really pretty, in fact. A couple of shades are actually really unique in this, as Strange Love is really, really pretty. It's kind of got a little bit of a duochrome shift in it, where it is kind of what you would think would be a lilac-y lavender with not much going on, but it's actually got a beautiful kind of purple shift in there. I don't know if that shows on camera. And then Skeleton Kiss is also a duochrome where it looks just kind of champagne in the palette. It actually has a very strong, beautiful pink shift. It makes a very pretty face highlighter. And that's what's on my inner corners today. I think you could probably get away with using Skeleton Kiss or Strange Love as a highlight as well. Both shades I really like, and I really like Lost Control, which is a metallic shade with some glitter particles in there, some micro glitters. Very pretty, deep kind of eggplant type of color. Let's go ahead and break down the shades, and I will read you Melt's description on their website. So according to Melt, the She's in Parties palette, 4 new plums have joined the scene, now with 8 shades. We've added lively lilac matte to perk things up, and 3 iridescent shimmers to the She's in Parties palette. She's here to make all your goth fantasies come true. And girl, she is here to make all your goth fantasies come true. This has been the palette I've been waiting to see from Melt. I think I said in my Gemini review I would love to see a palette with some purples and some deep kind of blood red shades in it. While this one doesn't have quite blood red in it, it does have the She's in Parties shade, which has a garnet look to it, which kind of, I'll take it. But I would love to see just like a full-on like blood red palette from Melt. The She's in Parties palette includes 3 ultra mattes, 2 iridescent, and 3 metallic. So first up you have Skeleton Kiss Creamy Bone Eyeshadow with a Kiss of Rose Gold shift. To me, I don't know if I would really, well, yeah, that's like a true rose gold shift in there, but it's not too deep that you can't use it to highlight the inner corner. I think the shade could work on a lot of skin tones and look absolutely beautiful on everybody. This versatile sheer shade can be used to brighten the inner corner, the brow bone, or double as a highlighter. Yeah, I actually used it as a highlighter today. I think it's a stunning highlighter shade. And on the inner corner or brow bone, Strangelove, give into the bizarre infatuation for this muted lavender with a lilac shift. Yeah, that sums that shade up perfectly. The barely there base of this metallic makes it perfect for adding sparkle to any look. Apply with the finger to the center of the lid for eye-catching dimension. Yeah, this shade does perform beautifully with a finger, and it just, I don't know, it gives the look something so pretty and so just such a beautiful shift in there. I've used it in a look a few weeks ago, and it's definitely one of my favorite looks I've done, and that was kind of the star of the show. Strangelove is also a Depeche Mode song. Totally Mortal, an AFI song. A really good AFI song, and not like, I don't think a very well known one. It's an older one. It's definitely, I think it's before Art of Drowning that it came out. It was like on an EP. Total Immortal. The possibilities for this muted lilac hue are endless. Use it in the crease to transition to your plums and purples, or pack it all over the lid for a soft pastel wash of color. Yeah, it's what I used today right up here as a transition. A beautiful transition color, and it's not chalky looking or anything like that. It is a really nice pastel, like lilac shade without being so pastel. Like, it has a dustiness to it. It almost makes me think of like old paintings when you see that kind of wash of bluey lavender across the lid to show that transparency. That's what it reminds me of. Next is Last Caress, a Misfits song, which AFI did a cover of. Sweet Lovely Mauve Eyeshadow. This mid-tone matte is the cool tone transition of the palette and creates the perfect purple gradient. And yeah, this shade is incredibly pigmented and goes on much deeper than I think it appears in the palette. It's what I use kind of in the crease below the transition, like right in here today, and yeah, it's got some punch to it. It's very surprising because I thought it was going to be kind of a, you know, just a mauve, but no, it's got a little something special to it, and I really like it. Next, of course, is She's in Parties, a burgundy frost shade with hints of copper and pink flecks. She's the center of focus, and once you get your hands on her, you'll know why. She's like a party on your eyes. Apply it wet to amplify the copper luster. And that's what I did today, is that I actually used a little bit of it damp on the lids on a wet brush, and it really did amp it up and create some vibrancy to it. I like it just without wetting the brush as well. I think it goes on beautifully. But you can definitely see that shift in there when it is on a damp brush. It also applies well with fingers. Sleepwalk. You'll be dreaming of this deep plum shade. The beauty of the rich iridescent lingers like a song. Applied with a finger, this hue provides a strong base and a soft twinkle, or you can use it wet for a metallic foil. Sleepwalk is a stunning color. It has just enough purple in there and like eggplant, yet it has that sheen that gives a little bit of life. It's very almost velvety, and to me on the eye it looks like crushed like velvet or something. It's beautiful, and yeah, I used it in conjunction with Strangelove for a look. So good. Alright, and next is Mean Streak. She's the darkest plum. The moody deep matte is perfect for dramatic smoke or defining the lash line. I really do like using this shade as an eyeliner, and I used it today kind of in the inner corner to extend, and I think it looks really cool. It borders on black, but it has such a strong purple pigment in it, or plum pigment, that you can still tell that it's not black, but it has that depth that really just deepens up a look and looks amazing. It's what I use kind of on the outer corners and a little bit into the crease today. Yeah, it's a really unique shade. It doesn't come off quite as warm as it looks in the palette, or burgundy. Like, I was expecting a little more red in it when I look at it in the palette, but on the eye it's definitely cooler. It falls in line more with Last Caress and Totally Immortal as far as tone. Lastly is Lost Control. That is a Joy Division song. Surrender yourself to the dusky deep plum with a black base. Apply this shimmer shade wet for intensity and a sparkling glare. Yeah, this shade, I really just want to do a smoky eye that is just this shade alone, really just focused on it because it is such a unique, pretty color. Especially applied wet, it just has that beautiful shift and you can see the glitters in it. It is so pretty, and like definitely gives something special to just a black eyeshadow. It almost reminds me a little bit of Blackheart from the Naked 3 palette. Yeah, you know what? This is kind of like the Naked 3 palette's cool goth cousin. You know what I mean? It's definitely like taking the little bits and pieces of Naked 3 that I really liked and put them in a palette, and it's so good. But yeah, the quality across the board is really good. If you're familiar with Melt eyeshadows, you know that they can be quite pigmented and very strong, and it can be a little finicky if you're not used to very heavily pigmented eyeshadows. They blend beautifully, they blend like a dream, they're easy to work with. It's just that they do apply a lot in one go. So just use with caution, really tap off your brush, barely tap it in there, because you're going to get a lot on your brush. And it's easy to kind of overdo it and apply too much. It is a fantastic quality. I don't mind an eyeshadow being overly pigmented or too pigmented, if that can possibly be a thing. I don't mind working with an eyeshadow if the color is unique and pretty and is worth it. And to me, the She's in Parties palette is worth any little extra effort you might have to put in. Same with Gemini. To me, they're worth a little extra finesse they may take, as in just using a lighter hand and being a little bit more cautious with them. Otherwise, yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite palettes from 2020 so far, and I was so excited when I saw it online. I fell in love and immediately just ordered it like that, and have been playing with it since. And that's why I waited a little bit of time to review it, because I wanted to have a lot of experience with the palette and have some looks to show you, so we didn't just have the first impression that I did. I really wanted to come at you with a well-rounded opinion, and overall it is a great palette. I've liked every look I've done with it. I know $48 is quite a little chunk for 8 eyeshadows. To me, this is a little bit more niche, or something a little bit special, and I'm willing to pay that for something a little special, you know what I mean? And another thing, the pan sizes are very generous. You get a lot of product in here, and I don't think I'm going to be hitting pan anytime soon on any of these shades, and I've used them quite a bit. I think the only thing that is missing is like a little brow bone highlight shade, but I can just pull that from any palette I own. I like that this one is smaller than the Gemini palette. It's easier to store. The packaging is that soft touch kind of finish with this beautiful rosy foil. I love the damask print. Like, this is just so beautifully classic goth looking palette, and this is like all the vibes right here for me. This is my aesthetic in a palette right here. This in Gemini. And yeah, I can't wait to try more from Melt, honestly, because they are fast becoming one of my favorite brands on the market right now. That is my thoughts. I love it. As simple as that. And yeah, if you want to see all the looks I created with this palette, I'm sure I popped them up on the screen somewhere. I also have any videos using the palette linked below, and in a She's in Parties playlist, as well as some of the songs that are shade names within the palette included. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and hearing my thoughts real quick on this beautiful palette. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay spooky and stay safe. Bye now.